Winter is a great time to talk books. We love getting to hear the stories behind great books like The Air or The Clinic. Dr. John Hagen is with us tonight to dive into his latest titles. Thanks so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, John, you worked for 40 years as a surgeon. Now you're creating medical fiction. Take us through the journey to where you are today.
Okay, so I was working as a surgeon for about 40 years. And, during the course of being a surgeon, you see a lot of very interesting things. And I was also chief of surgery, and I was chief of staff at some point. And so I'm quite familiar with medical politics, which can be as interesting as regular politics. And just before I got prepared to retire, I bought a sailboat in Greece, and I hired a delivery skipper to bring it to Toronto, where I live. Mm-hmm. And he got about 240 miles off of Nova Scotia when his steering broke, the sails were all tattered, he was out of fuel, he was out of food, and he was worried about the safety of the crew. So he got rescued by helicopter. It made national news across Canada, and it was really quite a dramatic rescue. And no one got hurt, thank goodness. But about 6 months later, the boat was spotted off the Azores. That's kind of the natural current where it took the boat, by a passenger on a cruise ship. He took a picture of it, and I got a call from the Coast Guard in Canada, and he said, "Hey, we found your boat, but it hasn't been seen since. It's still floating around out there somewhere." And so it got me thinking. There's a lot of really interesting things that happen outside the world of medicine, and also inside the world of medicine. And there's a lot of really, really great stories to tell.
So tell us about your latest book.
Okay, my latest book, called The Air, was a story. I went to a school in South Wales in Great Britain, and there was a lot of interesting students there, and some were quite wealthy, and so the latest book involves a story about. I recently went to Kathmandu to give some lectures as a surgeon, and while I was there, I rented a helicopter that took me to base camp in Mount Everest. And it was right at the apex of the climbing season in mid-May, and people were summiting the apex. And in the airports, you would see all these really fit Europeans that were kind of tall and bearded and ready to climb the mountains. And it turns out one of my friends from the school in Wales had also summited Everest, and that's what led to this last story. It's full of twists and turns about how the surgeon tries to help his friend who is in serious trouble on Mount Everest, and how that all ended with a very interesting twist at the end of the story.
Writing these books seems like a perfect way to take all of the immense amount of interesting experiences you've had both as a surgeon and on the water and put it all together. Where can we go to get more info on your books or to get our hands on some of them?
Yeah, so the books are available on Amazon, and also on my website, john-hagen.com. And also there you'll find there's also a sailing blog that I regularly contribute to. Right now I'm on my sailboat in the British Virgin Islands, waiting for the wind to die down a little bit because it's pretty windy right now. But it's and I have a lot of time in my hands, so I spend that time, writing stories and just basically enjoying life after being a surgeon for 40 years.
Well, it's a lot colder and grosser where we are, so we're going to get one of your books and pretend we're sailing with you. John, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much.
Air Friday is next. We'll be right back.